I'm just.
Call to order the committee of the whole for the city council of the Eldridge, Iowa meeting on Monday, May 6th, 2024 at 6:12 p.m. Roll call.
Blackwell,
Present.
Campbell,
Present.
Collins,
Present.
Yelsey,
Present.
The doctor asked to be excused this evening. Number 3, discussion on a proposed expansion of the Eldridge multi-residential urban revitalization area. I'll approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
Motion by Yossi, second by Campbell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. All right, back to number 3. Discussion on proposed expansion of the Eldridge multi-residential urban revitalization area. Savannah?
So this is the topic that we've discussed several times, in looking at an engagement letter from Ehlers and Cooney, who is our legal team that handles, our urban revitalization tax exemption area. They also work with our TIF. They're our general bond counsel. We do have one of our developers here tonight, with his team. We've got Ben Estep and Todd Swift. And so they're going to present a little bit of information to you about their project. This is the original development that we discussed, the first night that we brought the engagement letter to consider expansion of the URTE area forward. So he'll tell you a little bit about that project, and you can ask questions for what the plan is for them.
Good evening, everybody. Benny Stick with Ivy Acres LLC. I'd mentioned this to Nevada, probably 6-8 weeks ago. Let's take a look at this. What we're trying to do, because quite honestly, what's happened is, as we all know, interest rates have gone through the roof. And in order to try to build workforce housing, it's made it next to impossible. I mean, the fact is, you can just put your money in the bank and probably earn the same kind of return. Put the capital on a project like this. And so I just called Nevada and I said, you know, something like this is the property tax that's being produced on that property now is very minimal. And yes, with the revitalization zone, there is a certain percentage, whatever is worked out, that is not paid. But on the same token, some of it is paid for a period of time, and then the city gets the rest of it. I probably don't need to explain it to you guys. You probably already know all that. But you know, we've done a feasibility study by a third party. Shows big demand for workforce housing, especially with some of the employment that's coming down the pipeline here for the area. And there just hasn't been a lot of multifamily garden style, and we'd like to do it. We have stuff in Bedford, we have stuff over in Illinois, and we chose Eldridge because we like it. Mr. Windmiller will be here as well. That's he purchased the ground up there. I purchased the balance of the ground off him to put up what we'd like to a total of 120 units, probably 50 at a time. And I'll shut up and you guys start firing away.
So the workforce housing tax credit program that we talked about before is the tax exemption that would be considered if we expanded our URTE zone to include the parcel that Mr. Estep would be developing on. The requirements from the local public agency for contribution for them to be able to apply for those housing credits is $1,000 per unit. So at 130 units, we would be at a minimum contribution of 130,000 in some way, shape, or form from the city as the local public agency to partner on that project to allow them to be able to apply for the workforce housing tax credits.
Which does not have to come out of pocket. As part of this, if it's expanded, that is the city's contribution. So not only doesn't have to come out of pocket, but then you also get the property tax revenue off of that as well. So it's not like you're writing a check.
So we did look at several options on how that contribution could happen as well. It could be done in waiving of permit fees. We aren't quite at that level for permit fees on this project where that would be an option. But if we were looking at expanding the URTE zone, that expansion of that plan area and the amendment to the plan would go through the full process, just like the original establishment for that plan. So the city council would then choose a schedule for an exemption for that parcel. So it could be at whatever term and, amount of tax exemption that the council would see, that it would not necessarily be held to that same, schedule that's in the current plan, which is the 7 years at 75%. That could be adjusted for this particular parcel, or for the amendment to the plan for any areas that would be included as that expansion would happen.
So that's the closest location that you've already completed then?
Yes,
And how's that one working out?
it's full.
Which location is that?
It's right off of Devil's Glen and 53rd.
On that southeast corner?
It's called the Groves. It's called the Groves. It's so 53rd, Devil's Glen go north.
Okay.
And as you know, like the big group just announced that one up by Betflexville, that whole area is in a big TIF district, and a lot of that stuff is TIF eligible costs. A lot of towns aren't doing multifamily TIF districts, understand that. And in this case, this is just a, the expansion of the zone that you already have. So it's not establishing a new TIF district with all that. But I know the group that's doing that up there at Betflex, and they're a very savvy group, and they work sometimes.
And is Callahan's full? Are you guys full with the one over where you're at?
Yeah.
In fact, the market study and the homework that we've done is that pretty much everywhere in Elgin is full. Or if it's not full, it's there. So. And we looked at this 2 years ago. We were really close to doing everything, and Chairman Powell decided to throw a lot of water on things, which, that's fine, but it's just reality, so.
I know you have developments across the river in Illinois and the Quad City region. Are you guys also in Davenport?
We don't currently have anything in Davenport. We have, other partners that we work with that certainly have things in Davenport. It's legacy type stuff. No, nothing new development wise.
Okay.
Where's your company based out of?
Bendor.
This is gonna go in the, southeast corner of that property across from the Amhoff.
Yeah, that's correct.
There's been a couple of developers over the years look at that, and at one time there was a buffer there. Because Amhoff's been there a very long time.
That's right.
In the summertime, they run 3 shifts.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of air tools hammering, banging on tires popping beads, all that kind of stuff. That's all been considered, that they won't try to come and say they're too noisy of a neighbor or whatever.
No, not concerned about that at all, because a lot of that'll be, done with landscaping, berms, whatever else. Not a concern. I mean, there's stuff that's put up right on I-80, and
No, I understand, and I've seen that, but I just want to make sure that that's been talked about, because in the past, it was talked about in a few of the meetings in the past. Amhoffs themselves were here concerned about that,
Sure.
they would have been there for a very long time.
Totally respect that. Totally respect that. Yeah. They've been there for a long time. So, yeah, that's,
Right,
we're the new kid there, but we understand.
okay.
The original proposal had how many units?
130 on the property that's there now. We'll phase it probably 50 at a time, just to allow that absorption to go through.
Wasn't the original proposal like at 70 some originally? So
250 unit and 130 unit.
Yes, that was the original site plan.
okay, so what caused the change? What caused the upgrade? And do you guys feel that can adequately be accomplished?
As far as from, well, we originally wanted 130, but we always just phase it, so that way the market can absorb it. So we would only put up to 50 initially here. And then once that fills, then another 50, and then once that fills, then the final 30 is. Am I answering your question, or?
I mean, I thought there was discussion before that it was a lot less. A lot less.
Wasn't that Windmiller, was that Windmiller's plan?
He's also here to talk because his development is also.
Yes, so Ryan, you have about 70 lots years.
I think you're talking about whether the paper had something where it was a lot in the 200 range, is what they had said about it. Was that what you're thinking?
Well, there was some talk, and,
You know what?
talk proposal,
We originally,
about that. And then it seemed like then there's some side talk that was scaling down and then going back up again, so.
I think we'd always worked out that we wanted about 120 to 130 units. With Ryan's part of it too, that'd be about 200 units. And so the only scaling down that we probably thought of is that we would scale back from, instead of doing 130 initially, you know, all at once, that we would scale back and do 50 units at a time. There's obviously economies of scale when you do 130 at a time, but there again, that's a bigger investment. So that's maybe where the scale back came from is, yeah, we, instead of doing 130 initially, we're gonna scale back and do 50, 50 and 30. And I'm not talking for Ryan here, but I think you're in 2 phases. So Ryan's in 2 phases as well.
Yeah, I can say that, when Ryan submitted his original preliminary plat in October, November of 2022, it had the 130 units as part of that plat that was approved at that time.
Right. And we believe we have the infrastructure that can accommodate that, with sewer. Oh,
What's the, building type, like how many units per building and how many stories?
Yeah, 3-story garden style walk up. And generally, if you go look at some of our other projects, it's usually about 50 units per building. So we build on pods. You're obviously familiar with that, right? So there'll be about 6 or 8 pods in each building. Each pod will have anywhere from, 4, depending on, we've got some pods that have 3 bedrooms. We have some pods that are just all studios. So that pod will have a lot more compared to the pod that has a 3 bedroom. So 3-story garden style.
Garages on the basement floor?
Well, we contemplated that. The problem is what we're really trying to do is keep these rents down for this influx of employment that's getting ready to come in here at a certain price range. So you start doing that, and here again, you know well as anybody that garage space is great, but it doesn't produce a lot of income. And so what we've done, we do a few of those to get a premium out, but then we also do some detached stuff if people want to do it. And we wind up seeing that somewhere between 1/4 and 1/3 of the people will pay for the garage, and some people won't, because when a garage costs you $150 a month, yeah. So, but it's all market rate, so it's whatever the market will bear, right? And that's what the feasibility study that we had done for the Iowa workforce housing came back and said there's a large demand. If they don't live here, then they're gonna live in Bentonville, if they're gonna live in Davenport, so.
Dan, how many empty spots do you have in your building? Or does Callahan have in that building?
What do you mean?
I mean, you aren't full, but how many?
We are.
Oh, you are full?
We are.
Is that, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to get nice apartments in town.
We have a waiting list all over Bentonville. Yeah, and the good thing is we will be a little bit of competition, but we really won't, because we're building brand new, so our rents are gonna be considerably higher than yours. But the market will backfill that in. And it's not like we're dumping 200 units on the market. Put 50 in, let them absorb. So with with waiting lists on a couple other places and waiting lists in Bentonville, there's obviously a demand. So, and in general, the country is way underhoused. So that's what's happening.
What time of the completion timeline would you expect it once you break ground?
If we can get concrete in the ground, by Thanksgiving, then we'll be open next summer. But here again, Mother Nature, she's wonderful one day, and the next day, yeah. So generally on a 3-story garden style, from start to finish, by the time we're digging footings, probably 10 months, 11 months. But here again, if you're not pouring concrete till December, it can get real nasty real quick, so. The plan would be is if we can get all this, that potentially get the concrete down by, you know, October, November, and then after that,
If Ryan Windmiller here also.
So for Ryan, you as well, are all these units, are they rental units, or are they purchased for homeownership too, or what's?
all mine are rentals, market rate rental apartments.
So will you be accepting the housing choice voucher for individuals, for families?
I'd have to get with my management group on how that would work, but we are making big enough units to where, you know, like on some of the stuff we haven't been to, we do have quite a few families in those, but as far as specifics on that, that's why I have people that are smarter than I am running that, so.
It is affordable housing. I guess last time we talked, we kind of chuckled, you know, with the cost. But the cost of it is it really affordable for those working families who are out there who are grinding, 9 to 5, want a good place to stay, want to come to Eldridge, or just want to see how can you accommodate families more by maybe accepting the housing choice voucher for some families.
Yeah, and here again, I will absolutely, my group, I can get an answer for you on that.
Okay.
So.
Brian, do you?
Sorry,
So,
do you want to answer?
I would,
Okay.
For the housing choice vouchers, so the workforce housing tax credits are for middle income level for caps on that are meant for the workforce. So it's not gonna be geared towards accepting housing choice vouchers or any subsidized housing. These will be market rate, but they'll have kind of a capped rate set by the workforce housing credit so that they're affordable for the middle income working class. So it'll be different than what you would see that would be considered low income affordable housing or subsidized housing. These will be more geared towards those middle income workforce housing families and
Okay.
individuals.
it is, still seems steep, you know, for somebody, you know, you're coming in from middle class, working family, still trying to make it. So it's trying to grind and see if there's anything that's going to be subsidized for some families. That's all.
Any other questions?
being late, I had wrong. I had 7 versus 6. I've got something for you guys. So I was talking about the tax abatement stuff. Zoning, I guess, the zone, changing the zone. Trying to be included in it.
Thank you.
This is just some, for the last, from 2019 to 2023, year-end MLS sales, and this is part of what we'll talk about here. So, yeah. And then it kind of equates to this, so I'll be a little bit long-winded on this. So, you know, we're looking to try to get into the tax abatement area with our townhomes, part of our project, which fits the requirements of the multifamily fourplex. We are for sale currently. We're looking to switch with interest rates where they are, and with the market, the national market really changing, a lot of for rent versus for sale. That's becoming a very, very popular thing, and we feel that there's a need for that housing that bridges that lower side of things, but that younger client that used to buy there is now renting first before they're buying. But they don't always want to go to an apartment. They want something, either a house, standalone house, or a townhome or a garden style. So there's a big demand for that nationwide. You're seeing that all over. If you drive up Interstate 80, you'll see a lot of it along the way up there. I spent the last 24 years working in Bettendorf and really trying to help grow that community. Don't like working there a lot, but I'd like to be doing the same thing here at Eldridge as well. And we've got a lot to both start on the affordable side and on the high-end side in Bettendorf. And I like doing both ends of the market. I like to try to accomplish all of that with our 2 different companies that we have. We have Aspen Homes and Inmo Design. So we're looking for kind of a little bit of a pivot out here in that, and in looking at that market. So here, if you look at 2019, there was, I can't even remember, it was 34, excuse me, there was 34 sales. But we've seen, and in 2020, when we really got hot, another 34, and 21 was 27, 22 was 11, 23 was 9. Or I'm sorry, 23 was 14. So we've trended backwards in Eldridge when it comes to single families starts. And I think some of that's affordability aspect of things, maybe changing what the market's looking for, options out there. So, let's see. What we're looking to do is our townhomes that you see out there, very much similar to what that is. We're gonna make some slight changes in size, other than that be the same. And, we'll be going after a higher end client. It'll be not higher end, but for rent rate more than what, apartments are. It's more of a, working families or professional families that are making income, combined household income of 66,000 or greater. And that's gonna bring those people in to the area. A lot of them want to try out an area, and then from there, they go and they buy an existing house, or they rent for 5 years, and then they go back to an existing house. So it's kind of a phase thing. It just happens later in life for people now than it used to. For instance, we've already started as a very short test market. One of our clients says they want to have a young family, they like Eldridge, they've identified that as being a great place, but they want to try it first. So that's what they're doing. I have another client that he works at Deere as an engineer, and she's a pharmacist. And so those are the type of clients that we'd be bringing into the area that are going to get their feet wet here, fall in love with the area, and then want to build and buy houses down the road, or buy existing houses down the road, and hopefully help your community grow faster and with really good people, people that you want to bring and expand the area that are going to contribute and that are going to have a good impact on the community. It is very challenging to make the numbers work, and that's where we're coming to this with today's environment, both interest rates, building costs, everything else. We're close. We're just not quite there. We're trying to find ways to get it where it needs to be, to get that right person here and do that right thing. Our rent rates would start at 2,200, and they're basically 22 to 2,400 would be the rent rates. What that is. 53 bedroom, and they would have an attached 2-car garage. So they're gonna be more of a family style home. You know, our villas, we've sold quite a few of those. We've done very well on that side over there. A little different market that is a little less interest rate affected is why that has gone faster than our others. We find a lot of them are people that are moving. A bigger percent of the people that are there are not people from Eldridge, people that are moving into Eldridge from outlying areas, from Davenport, that want to get out of Davenport. And even some Illinois people, they want to retire in Iowa, they want to move there, and Bettendorf maybe not, can't afford something there, and so Eldridge is their kind of the next best thing. So we feel get a lot of that with these townhomes as well, bringing in that new buyer that's helping the area grow, not pulling from other areas of the town. Not that we aren't getting some from Eldridge. Phasing wise, I was going to tell you, Ben was talking about phasing, and although we're completely separate, we're similar ideas and thought processes on things, but we'll phase 30 units and then see how that goes. And then in the right time, we have remaining 40, and that might change by a few units as we adjust lots, but it's not big, massive differences. We'll phase that. We'll do that second development, second phase as we feel absorption's right. That we can get the correct absorption and after we test that market. One example, and I know, so we're asking for the tax abatement, which is in the zone, so hoping to get that, which is a short-term rate on taxes for us, but it helps produce much quicker a tax base for you guys. So longer term, you have a deeper tax base. A really good large example of that is Bettendorf, what they've done around the Betflex. They supplemented that with taxes. Theirs was more tips, but they supplemented that and that area exploded and now the growth they're getting around that, the values that the raising around there. And what their tax base has built up, so in 10 years, they're gonna have a huge tax base out there. And a lot of people don't know, there's three or four other really, really large projects that are going on now out there because of that. That are coming up, that all bought land or in the process of buying land that are really, really large projects. Now, obviously, the residential, a much smaller version of what that is, but same concept, trying to spur that growth, trying to push things forward. I think that was about it. Questions?
How many of you sold in 90 acres this spring so far?
This spring,
Or this year in 2024?
so closed or sold to in the process, ones that are in the process. The actual close, I think we closed 6 or 7, but some of those started last year.
Okay.
As far as sold this year, as far as the buyers came in and put an offer in on it, I would say we're in that, on the villa side, I would say we're in that same, I think we're in that 4 range, 4 or 5 range, off the top of my head.
Okay.
So,
What I was noticing on, some of the information you provided, there was large condominium, units that went in 19, 20, 21. This is all Emily Acres. This is Muse Circle, large condo developments. And we just haven't had that type of development, happening in 22 and then until the end of 23 when you started building.
Yeah.
I know Dale's got several of those units. Like you see here on all these Franklin Street addresses on these sheets, he has the exact same type of condominium unit plan for Grunwald Second in the center, Redbud Circle. So you'd have 8 times 4, so you'd have 32 units in there, right? 22 units in there. It'd be exactly like this Franklin Street thing, but I don't know. I mean, I'm just.
we looked at that, but our absorptions are not happening as fast as those did at that particular time. Yeah.
Okay.
Could it on that side? Yes. On the villa side. We aren't seeing that on the company.
Right,
Part of that's,
Yeah.
interest driven, cost driven,
sure.
interest rate driven, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was well over half of the number of units in these years was, condo development.
Jeff, do you think there's a need for this? What do you think?
If everything we have in Eldridge is fall, I'd say yes. Yeah, if Dan filled up if they filled up in 6 months,
I'd ask too, what's Eldridge wanting to do for growth? What's their goals? I wasn't able to find that. Their thought process is how aggressive or how short-term, long-term, what type of growth are they looking for?
Yeah, and I guess to keep a mix, the comprehensive plan calls for a pretty good mix of multifamily, single family or 2-family residential. So, I'd say we've got quite a bit of, single family residential going on. Not a lot of multifamily right now, so to keep up, it's like something we need to consider.
Typically, a condo goes on the market, it's sold pending within 7 days, unless it's kind of older building. The newer ones are gone fast as you can see them. I think you're finding more younger, middle-aged people that don't want to have to worry about lawns and snow removal and stuff like that. So I've seen the trend change. Where younger people are getting those condos.
I just confirm with you from our communication for the council too, is that you're looking to have that zone expanded to include your development, but you're not necessarily looking at the workforce housing credits for yours. Yours are the 2,200 to 24, not the workforce housing
Right.
credits that cap at 18 for the
This
3
is
bedroom.
exactly the side. And just for the townhome side, because our other stuff's for sale, so it doesn't meet the requirements.
Okay.
I should have brought a map to that, but I looked at it. Right over here.
So that's what we did for Callahan.
So Callahan was the first development in our current multi-urban residential area that we just approved that application this year. And they're at the current plan, which is the 7-year, 75% exemption. So again, expanding that zone, there would be another amendment and there'd be a new area to the plan. So the council would have opportunity to set a new or different exemption rate and schedule if they wanted to. That would all be part of that process of expanding the area and amending that plan. So, and there is an item on the agenda for the city council meeting tonight to work with Ehlers in drafting something for the council to review. The same item we've looked at a couple of times, so that you have some time to think about the information that gets presented on these developments, and then we can take a look at that at the council meeting to work with Ehlers, or, you know, whatever the council decides for that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ryan.
Number 4A, discussion on security camera systems for city facilities such as sewer plant, maintenance shop, city hall, and a water treatment plant.
So this item, I think, has been talked about on maybe an individual basis a little bit here and there. We have not come together and talked about it as a group. I didn't put any research together or anything for this item yet, just wanting to get the general topic out there with the council to see, you know, where your thoughts are on, putting in security camera systems at the facilities that we don't have them at. Right now, we only have them at the PD, actually, out in front and in their office.
I believe the sewer plant has some also, I'm not sure how
Outside?
extensive. I don't know exactly where they are,
Okay.
but I know that they've got some cameras, but
So I mean, the water treatment should be a secure facility, and security cameras would be appropriate for that facility. We don't have anything currently at City Hall or at our city maintenance shop, so just looking for some feedback from the council on interest in looking at security camera systems, and if there's that interest, if there's certain items you would be interested in, or items staying away from. Looking at getting some more secure systems in place for all of our facilities.
I would be in favor of you putting together some kind of a plan or proposal to do that for all facilities. Just some of the things we've gone through, I think it would be important to have that.
That's infrastructure. I mean, that's something that we have to really, that's still important to the whole town. So I don't know why we want to.
Can you put that proposal together on individual and to see if we get bids from a couple places, if there'd be like a discount for doing more than one building at a time?
Yep.
It's something that's long overdue, for sure. I mean, there's a large percentage of residential houses that have security, and businesses are increasingly high. I was actually shocked that we have what little we have right now. So I think it's definitely necessary.
Yeah, look at space too, we can see for storage and how far you can go back, you know, what type of system you want. Looking at it in real time, checking. To, yeah. With what's occurred, what we're dealing with that investigation, if that was put into place, then.
Absolutely. See.
Would it be digging like you are now, so that's important, any type of city infrastructure should be monitored. So some shape or form, think we're behind times, you know, without getting any surveillance, so.
Yep. So, multiple bids from several service providers have broke down per facility to see if there's possibly a discount rate for having more than one facility. Looking at storage capabilities and real-time access.
Yep.
I would say the minimum, we'd want to have 3 weeks of storage capabilities, if not a month.
That's why I was.
I think ours in my shop in storage for 2,000 hours. And then it starts recording over this all digital. Board meeting concerns, discussion about the folding stop signs along South Fifth Street and at the intersection of West Prairie Vista Drive and West Sheridan Drive.
I can take that, Mayor.
All right.
I just realized, late that you guys didn't get the nice fancy memo that I made on this, and so I sent that out about 5:15. So you guys can look at that later, because,
You have a printed copy of it as well.
but I will, go ahead and just read that to you, and then we can just have us or so a discussion. The police department was contacted about stop sign concerns along South Fifth Street by the crossing guard. There are currently folding stop signs located at the intersection of West Prairie Vista Drive and West Sheridan Drive. After school and evening activities take place in the schools after the signs are folded for the day. This makes it hard for pedestrians and at times vehicles to cross or turn onto South Fifth Street. The crossing guard is asking that the signs remain up 24/7 during the school year and fold up for the summer months. This request is supported by the chief of police. And I did make an illustration showing the location of those two signs. And basically, tonight, I'm just asking for some input on, if you'd like to see some type of actionable item created for a future agenda. I'm not sure if there'd be an ordinance change involved with this or not. I need to do a little research into that. Normally, when we have permanent stop signs, we have an ordinance that creates that. I'm not sure in the situation if we need to do something like that or not. So, if you want to stop there, we can stop, and then I got another, just a couple of sentences on the next one.
I think if the chief is behind this and thinks it's necessary, I think it's, you might as well put your stuff together and move forward.
It can be confusing.
Mark,
There's times where it's folded that we didn't expect it to be.
Yeah,
There's times that it's not folded that I didn't expect it to be. Okay.
yeah, I agree, but, and I think that the proposal makes sense to me, that, you know, under the school year, off during summer, but, you know, it's the end of the school year, so we wouldn't have to act on this till the beginning of next school year, but, so we got some time to put something together. You guys are interested in looking at it?
Was there any concerns by the crossing guard that they noted close calls? Or
And this information
people running the
was,
stop sign when it was open, stopping when it was shut, or?
I didn't get any specifics on any of that. It was relayed to me through the administrative assistant at the police department, the request was. So I didn't speak directly to the crossing guard.
I know we talked about this a couple of years ago, you know, at that time I was in favor of having them up year round. Another councilman, you know, objected, gave his viewpoint, and I'm like, well, that makes sense, you know. So, sure, do we have to stop, you know, almost year round? They're, you know, constantly stop, you know, with that. Wasting gas, you know, so with that too. So I guess that's something to consider as we move forward with that. So it'd be one that was up 24/7. Sure. So, okay. Do we know chief? Do we know his reasoning, or maybe he can speak upon that? Is it a hassle for the officers to come and put them up, put them down on a daily basis, or?
And I believe the crossing guard is in charge of that. But his comment was that it's very difficult for cars to turn on down South Fifth Street from Sheridan or West Prairie Vista when the signs are folded during the school year. Because of all the activities after school, sporting events.
Okay.
And there's a lot of traffic going across that street, and pedestrian traffic going to sporting events and activities before and after school.
If we were to do anything like that, I mean, that's going to have to be, it'll take some time to get used to it, and probably somewhat monitored. I can see for people from out of town coming that night for a football game, not realizing what's up, what's not. It's just gonna take some time for us as citizens to get used to it as well, and remember, well, we gotta stop and what's there too, so.
Yeah, and special flags or, you know, flashing light or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
And it's solar powered light, something to draw attention to.
Well, we can have further discussion. While we have all representation of the council available.
That's how the Clear Road in South Fifth Street started. It wasn't a permanent stop. It was up for part of the year and then it wasn't, and then eventually became three-way stop. All right. 4C, discussion on adding an end of school zone signage below the posted 35-mile-an-hour speed limit near the southbound lane of First Street, just south of West Spring Street. Jeff, can I call on you for that?
Yes, Mayor. So I included this on the same memo, also came through the police department. The police department is asking that the sign be posted below the 35-mile-per-hour speed limit sign in the southbound lane of South First Street, just south of West Spring Street, that says end of school zone. There is a sign posted at the start of the school zone in that southbound lane, but not, there's one that says it's the end of the school zone. And so I also marked that on the map that you guys will see on your email. So if that's something you're interested in doing, I don't think any action is required. We could just have the police department order the sign. Just order it. Yep. I mean, it does end there, so it makes sense to let people know where.
Right. I think it's a good idea. Any other discussion on that? All right, Jeff, I'm gonna call you again. 4D, creating a ordinance for discussion on solar.
Yeah, and this is a larger discussion, but I've gotten 2 calls, from commercial businesses. Actually, people that own ag land asking about what our regulations are for solar farms. We currently don't have any regulations for solar farms, and solar farms are not listed as a permitted use in any zoning district currently. We also don't have any solar ordinances on the books regulating solar panels at home at residential businesses or commercial or industrial businesses. So currently we just follow building code on that. Ray kind of takes over and just allows what the building code requires for it. And so if someone were to ask, can I put a ground mounted solar unit in my backyard in a residential district? My answer is we don't have any requirements on that. So is that something that you think we should pursue and take a look at and try to regulate? Or are you okay with not having any ordinances for that? Looking back in the past, I did see that something was started in 2015. It was again brought up, it looked like around 2019, that no action by the council was taken at either one of those times.
Is that the solar energy conversions, the handout that you provided for the city of Eldridge, and then the 2 larger attachments they have in their email?
Yeah.
Them all out.
There were a couple of ordinances that I found on file from other cities. You know, I was just looking through files on this. And there was a start of an ordinance from 2015 that was emailed out to you by Nevada just a short time ago, so.
And that's the one that you have the printed copy
Yeah.
of. Here is the one that he found that was started for Eldridge specifically.
Yeah.
So,
And I probably, we're looking at a couple, so residential, I think is probably separate. And then commercial industrial is probably separate, and then solar farms. And I don't know if you even want to get into any kind of wind energy, but I mean, there are a bunch of separate issues here probably.
I think it's important to do that. I think that some of the things you've talked about in the past, that our ordinances are kind of outdated. You're going through and correcting a lot of those. This is a chance for us to get ahead of the curve. I think we're gonna see more and more of this type of thing, so I think we should be prepared for it. So kudos to you for bringing it up and move forward, from my opinion.
Yeah. it's clean energy, it's gonna be here, it's not going away. I had no concern with one Mount Allen houses on the roof. How sightly would they be, complaint at ones that if I'm on the corner, I put one on the side. I don't think neighbors will really be too happy with me. So I believe there should be some limits as to where square footage that we can look at further. Then we can explore the other with commercial. With that, with their regulation as well. I guess my time's up there, so. Kavanaugh says that. Time to get, so with that, and and I guess solar farms, wind farms is a huge deal. And tax window that we can look at. I know, we have land, we have previous administration, previous mayor, just trying to develop buttermilk. I think it's a goal to try to develop that industrial wise and commercial wise if we can, and try hard to bring in businesses, and see how we can get that shovel ready. We're dragging our feet, 10 years, nothing's there, that maybe we'd be more open-minded to maybe some solar or wind farms, maybe a decade later, but so I think we really need to try to, develop that commercial industrial down there a little bit more and offset the tax bases too. Make sure you don't lose insight of that.
I'll start compiling information. It'll involve several more conversations.
Good, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Yossi, second by Campbell to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Nay, adjourned at 6:58. Thank you, gentlemen.